the Scoop, where we break down the stories everyone's whispering about.
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star, and this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out, and I think I was so vulnerable and comfortable.
Ryan Reynolds might look like the perfect Hollywood superstar, but plenty of celebs have started calling out the side of him that doesn't show up in the cute interviews or comedy clips. Some insiders say his ego is wild, his attitude is sharp, and his behavior can switch up fast. And trust me, you're gonna be stunned when you hear the 10 stars who came for him and the bold things they had to say. Ryan's been cracking jokes and hiding behind that playful persona for years, but after the way he allegedly acted toward the Jersey Shore crew, Sammy Giancola and Dina Cortese, his cool guy mask started slipping. When they pulled up on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Andy hit them with the classic question about rude celebrities they've met. You could see Sammy trying to keep it cute and not drop names because calling out A-listers on national TV can get messy fast. Still, that hesitation said a whole lot on its own.
Me and Dina encountered a rude celebrity once. We don't want to say who it is.
Sammy was trying hard to dodge the question and keep things polite, but Dina wasn't having it and just dropped the name straight up. She said they were talking about Ryan Reynolds. She tried to soften it by saying he was not great to us, but the shade was already in the air. Dina even added that she loves Ryan and Blake Lively, yet he still didn't want to be anywhere near them, which made the moment feel even more awkward. Sammy backed her up while still trying to stay sweet, explaining that Ryan really was rude that day, but she still likes him and wanted to give him some grace. She even said maybe he had a bad day, which is a pretty generous excuse considering how uncomfortable the whole moment sounded. Celebs know how fast calling out big names can turn into drama, so her hesitation says a lot. But Sammy and Dina aren't the only ones who've held back when talking about rude A-listers.
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star, and this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out, and I think I was so vulnerable and comfortable that I got screamed at. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me, so no one had my back.
Rebecca Ferguson once opened up about a brutal experience on one of her past movie sets that left her shaken.
And I remember the next day I walked on and I said, "You get off my set." It's the first time I've ever spoken. I remember being so scared, and I looked at this person and I said, "You can F off. I'm going to work towards a tennis ball. I never want to see you again."
She never said the co-star's name, but she described the disrespect in such a clear way that fans instantly knew this wasn't some small-time actor. This was someone powerful. Rebecca explained that she was terrified of this person because their influence on set was huge, and nobody stepped in to help her since that co-star was considered too important to upset. Still, even with everyone looking the other way, she refused to let herself be pushed around and called out the behavior anyway. That took serious courage. Of course, it wasn't simple because the producers weren't about to fire the main star, the one who was basically carrying the whole project. So Rebecca had to find another way to protect herself, hinting that she insisted on working only in ways where she didn't have to face that person directly. Ever since she shared that story, people online have been detective mode trying to figure out who she meant. And the way she described having to shoot scenes without showing the co-star's face made fans think it might have been a CGI-heavy film where you can hide a whole lot in the edit room. Now here's where things get even wilder. Fans started connecting Rebecca's story to one of her old movies, Life, which she filmed with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. That project fits the mystery perfectly. And once people online noticed the timing and the behind-the-scenes vibes, the speculation came in strong. Some viewers started wondering if the person she was talking about might have been someone from that set, especially now that Ryan's name keeps popping up in different online conversations tied to rumors surrounding Blake and Justin's legal mess. During the promo run for Life, Rebecca kept things cool, but noticeably did a lot of interviews solo without her two big co-stars. That made fans go, "Hold up, something must have gone down." And because she never named the person, people started whispering that it could have been Ryan, especially since other celebs in the past have also been strangely cautious when talking about tense moments with him. Nothing confirmed, just a whole lot of smoke. But here's the part that had everyone raising their eyebrows. After Rebecca shared that story without exposing anybody, other people from the industry allegedly reached out to her.
You know you have an ongoing feud with Ryan.
Who?
You know that guy. What's it gonna take for him to actually be BFFs with you?
Well, I mean, in truth, there was a time in which we were.
Warning her like, "You understand what you've done, right?" That shook the internet because she wasn't even pointing fingers.
Any words for Ryan, seeing as the next time we talk to him, he will be seeing
I
that?
have nothing to say to him.
Rebecca clapped back with confidence, saying that if someone is truly a good person, they shouldn't be worried at all. That line had folks talking for days. Fans now think Ryan might have been putting on a polished image while hiding a much rougher side, which is why the timing of all this speculation felt so wild to the public. And what makes it even more surprising is the rumor that Rebecca might not have been the only one who felt tension with him on that set, because Jake Gyllenhaal has also been distant from Ryan lately. Jake's facial expression at the end of that interview had fans talking like crazy because it looked like he wasn't messing with Ryan at all. People online said his whole vibe screamed, "I'm done with this dude," and that clip went viral fast. And then there's Morena Baccarin, another one of Ryan's well-known co-stars, who also seemed to have her own rough moments working with him, at least according to online chatter. Fans noticed her role in the Deadpool franchise shrinking, even though she started off as a major character. By the time Deadpool and Wolverine press events rolled around, she was barely included, and the internet instantly started connecting dots. At the premiere, the red carpet photos showed Morena standing off to the side completely alone, which sparked rumors that this setup might have been tied to behind-the-scenes tension. Fans pointed out how all the other cast members were grouped around Ryan while Morena looked isolated, and it reminded people of the whole online drama involving Blake, Justin, and It Ends With Us. People speculated that maybe she disagreed with something on set, possibly about her character's direction or certain jokes. And if that's true, it might have clashed with Ryan's creative control. Nothing confirmed, just talk that spread like wildfire. Whatever the real story is, the public definitely noticed how she seemed sidelined while he stayed at the center of everything. And Morena wasn't the only one. Another co-star, TJ Miller, who played Weasel in Deadpool, publicly shared that he didn't want to return to the franchise. He claimed he felt uncomfortable with how Ryan treated him during filming, and he even said he wouldn't come back for Deadpool 3, not even for double his previous paycheck.
Really weird moment on Deadpool where he said, "Let's do one more take." And everyone was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then as the character, he was like horrifically mean to me, but to me.
Cathartic.
As if I'm Weasel.
That statement alone had social media going wild. TJ Miller said he couldn't even figure out why Ryan would treat him weirdly or try to embarrass him on set.
So he was like, "You know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star. But you just, you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie."
So he's riffing.
According to TJ, it felt like Ryan was trying to remind him he wasn't the star, which TJ believed came from insecurity, not confidence. That claim had fans shocked because he isn't the only person who has hinted that Ryan might hide some sensitive spots behind jokes and charm, and those rumors didn't stop with co-workers. People online have even pointed out that some of Ryan's former partners allegedly hinted at similar issues back in the day. One story that keeps resurfacing is how emotional that dynamic became during his marriage to Scarlett Johansson. We'll get to that because that situation was messy in its own way. When TJ said he'd never work with Ryan again, he wasn't alone. He shared that same energy with Tim Miller, the original director of Deadpool, who walked away from the franchise completely. Tim claimed that Ryan's level of control over the creative direction became too much to work with, saying it felt like Ryan wanted final say on almost everything. Tim even said, "You can successfully work that way as a director, but I can't. I don't mind having a debate, but if I can't win, I don't want to play." That line made fans sit up because it suggested the creative battles behind the scenes were intense. According to Tim, you can't negotiate every single detail on a big budget film, but Ryan, being the face of the franchise, gave him enough influence to push things the way he wanted. Rumors online claim that when Tim wouldn't compromise on certain creative choices, Ryan used his star power to move him out of the project so the film would go the direction he wanted. Again, nothing confirmed, but fans definitely had opinions. And according to public speculation, this pattern didn't just stop at work. People have long whispered that Ryan's romantic relationships were sometimes tense too. When it came to his marriage with Scarlett Johansson, insiders at the time claimed things were rocky when Scarlett's career started exploding with huge roles like Iron Man 2 and The Avengers. Ryan met Scarlett in 2007, they got engaged within a year, and married in 2008. But between 2009 and 2011, Scarlett's career shot into a different galaxy. Rumors say the competition, the schedules, and the power shift in their careers added serious pressure to the relationship. Scarlett Johansson opened up more after the divorce, and the details she shared had people raising their eyebrows. She didn't drop names, but the timing made everyone assume exactly who she was talking about. The themes she kept repeating were jealousy and insecurity, and those comments lined up with what fans were already whispering. She said, "I don't like jealous behavior. When somebody is passive-aggressively jealous, it's unattractive because it shows a sort of insecurity." That line alone sent the internet into detective mode. Scarlett also added that controlling behavior was a major deal breaker for her, and she made it clear she wasn't going to pretend she enjoyed that energy. People online instantly connected this to the stories about Ryan being super hands-on with the Deadpool franchise, even to the point where the director walked away. Fans felt like Scarlett was hinting that the same type of controlling vibe showed up in their marriage, and she wasn't feeling it at all. During the time Scarlett's career exploded with massive Marvel roles, Ryan reportedly wasn't getting the same level of hits, and some viewers think that shift added tension. Scarlett once said that being with another actor requires serious understanding, especially when both careers are racing at different speeds. She even mentioned that when one person becomes more successful than the other, it can create challenges, and sometimes competition. In another interview, she took things even further by saying dating an actor is volatile, and fans took that as a sign she didn't want to repeat the same dynamic again. She explained that there will always be a more successful person in a marriage, but she hinted that her ex didn't like being the one with less shine. That comment had social media buzzing for days. Scarlett talked about how rejection can make actors feel insecure, and she suggested that when someone feels unsuccessful, they might act like they're not wanted. It was a deep comment that many people online linked back to her past with Ryan. Again, just speculation based on her wording. And then there's the rumor fans keep bringing up, the situation with Blake Lively. Ryan and Blake met while filming Green Lantern, back when he was still married. The chemistry between Ryan and Blake on the set of Green Lantern had people talking immediately because they clicked fast and couldn't seem to keep the playful energy under control. Fans said it looked like they vibed way too naturally, and once both of their previous relationships came to an end, they started dating almost instantly. But for Ryan, who was already dealing with tension in his marriage to Scarlett, at least according to old Hollywood buzz, people online speculated that he connected with Blake in a way that wasn't healthy for the relationship he was still in. Folks on social media have always said Ryan's ego seemed fragile during that period, and the timing made the whole situation look messy to outsiders. Before Scarlett, though, Ryan had another long-lasting relationship that also ended on a heavy note. He dated Alanis Morissette from 2002 to 2008, and they were even engaged at one point. After 6 years together, the wedding was called off, and the split was rough enough that Alanis later expressed her heartbreak through her music. She said her album Flavors of Entanglement was inspired by their breakup, and one of the lyrics went, "If I just say it's true, I'm unbelievably insecure, really broken, devastated." The word insecure keeps coming up whenever people talk about Ryan's past relationships, and fans online always point out how unusual it is that so many of his exes have echoed the same theme. Nothing proven, just a pattern people love to analyze. Another Hollywood rumor that gets repeated often is that some filmmakers get nervous working with Ryan because they feel he might take control of a project if he doesn't agree with the direction. One high-profile filmmaker who didn't hold back at all was Quentin Tarantino, who openly shaded Ryan and the type of projects he's been doing. Quentin said, "I'm not picking on anybody, but apparently for Netflix, Ryan Reynolds has made $50 million on this movie, and $50 million on that movie, and $50 million on the next movie. I don't know what any of those movies are. I've never seen them, have you?" That comment alone had everyone gasping, but Quentin didn't stop there. He added that it's great Ryan is making money, but claimed the movies almost don't exist because he feels Netflix content doesn't have the same cultural impact as theatrical releases. It was a direct shot, and people definitely felt the heat behind it. Quentin has always said he doesn't like working with streaming studios, and Ryan has starred in several major Netflix films like Six Underground, Red Notice, and The Adam Project, so fans understood exactly who he was talking about. But here's where it gets even juicier. Director Chris Columbus, the man behind the original Home Alone, publicly expressed frustration toward Ryan when news broke that Ryan's production company was working on a new reboot-style version of the classic. Chris Columbus didn't hold back when he heard the idea Ryan was attached to, a wild reboot concept called Stoned Alone. The rumored plot followed a 20-something guy who grows weed, misses his flight for a ski trip, and ends up stuck at home when thieves break in. Basically an R-rated spin on Home Alone. Chris couldn't stand the concept and said it felt like an insult to a classic that people still love. He said reboot ideas like that were silly, and when he read the title Stoned Alone, he thought the whole thing disrespected the original movie. Chris even suggested Ryan should drop the idea altogether and just sit down to rewatch the real Home Alone, because the reboot's tone was already off track from the jump. Quentin Tarantino wasn't the only filmmaker throwing shade either. Another celeb who took an indirect shot at Ryan's work was Gerard Butler. Fans noticed that Gerard's movie Gamer had a similar setup to Ryan's Free Guy, since both revolve around video game worlds. So someone asked Gerard about the comparison. His reply? Pure ice. He said, "I don't know what Free Guy is." When the interviewer explained that it was Ryan Reynolds' movie, Gerard shot back, "I don't watch Ryan Reynolds films." That line hit the internet like a lightning bolt because everyone could hear the shade instantly. So when you line up all these comments in from directors, co-stars, ex-partners, and fellow actors, it paints a picture of just how many people have spoken up or hinted at having issues with Ryan over the years. If you want the full list of all 10 stars who took shots at Ryan Reynolds, make sure you stick with us because this story gets even wilder as the names stack up. Thanks for watching Sip and Scoop. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Catch you on the next one.